know that the podcast is getting good when I'm like weekend is going and we're talking to each other and we're like, wait, we can't talk about this. We have to wait until we're recording this weekend.
You did that on Sunday at Gabby's birthday party.
I was like, no, stop.
Matt was like, Arielle, what were you going to tell Leslie about?
I was confused for a second and then I realized what it was. And then I was giggling in my head.
So can you tell me now or?
Well, yeah, because you know now because Gabby opened up her birthday present.
Yeah, that was.
So Leslie is particular. I actually think I'm pretty particular too about like what I let my kids play with or not. Like there are some things that I'm like a little stickler on. Leslie's got some things that she's like, we don't do that. Like this is junk. And you got rid of toys in your house before I got rid of toys. I got rid of toys too, but like birthday parties come around and then all of a sudden there are toys back in the house a little bit and you're like, no, we're getting trash bags. We're done. We're not doing the toy stuff. Leslie, not a fan of Claire's.
Because it's all junk.
It's all junk.
Makeup. It's
fake makeup. It's like bubblegum makeup. It's like little kid rainbow.
It's all over my girl's carpet.
Unicorn, sparkly crap.
Notebooks. Stuff.
Yeah.
And the girls fight over it.
They do fight over it.
And whenever they go in there, they go crazy and they turn into little crazy people.
They do turn into crazy people. So I got Gabby a $50 gift card to Claire's for her birthday. And like a couple headbands and like and
a Claire's bracelet
and a notebook and like
everything that I don't want my girls to get.
Yeah.
And here you are with this smile on your face. I had to be happy for Gabby because I could see her just so glowing and proud.
She was so happy.
Her sister's like, oh,
look what I got.
And the first thing she says to Daddy is like, Daddy, can you take me? Because she knew you were not. So it's either you,
me or Ricky are taking her to Claire's to spend her money.
And do you know how much stuff she can get for $50?
Actually, it is a lot of stuff. It's kind of actually pricey, but it's like buy one get 57 free for some reason.
So now she's going to come home with like 9 pair of earrings and she doesn't even have her ears pierced.
Correct.
Like,
yeah, she's going to be walking around snapping, being like, this is welcome to Claire's. Oh, she's your middle child. She needs some love.
You are right. You are right. If any child is going to get that,
Gabby's the one that I was like, you know what? You're getting your Claire's gift card.
I told her to enjoy it. It's not going to happen again.
That's for sure. I knew that my one and done was going to happen. I was like, Claire's gift card it is.
Oh,
yeah. 7th birthday. She'll remember it forever.
She will. She already asked Ricky, can we go to Claire's this weekend? And I was like, nope, we can't. No time for Claire's.
Yeah.
Never any time for Claire's.
Not time for Claire's. That place is like it's like the zombie apocalypse threw up 7-year-old birthday party in Claire's.
Literally.
I'm
just happy the birthday party is passed. Gabby had her 7th birthday. She's never wanted a party before. We've always done beach getaways with Hallie and Gabby. And this year she wanted the party.
Yep.
And we hosted it at our new favorite place.
The trampoline park.
Which it's pretty awesome.
It is great. I do. It's not like a rock and jump. It's a trampoline park that's like spread out. It was chaos on Sunday. There were so many people. I'm so glad that we had the like room separate.
Well, privacy.
Yeah.
It was separation.
Yes.
But it went well.
It went great.
She had 15 of her people, soccer team, close friends. We had a great time.
Yeah, it was
They had
great.
a great time. It was great. I mean, this episode, our next guest is someone that I personally am so excited to talk to. I wish that I would have been at the Olympics with her in Beijing and maybe met her in person, but she was an inspiration for me. I love how she's carried herself. I've loved seeing her next chapter post her career, and I'm so excited to dive in with her. So
the 6-year-old gymnast in me is doing cartwheels all over the room right now.
Seriously. So. Olivia's about to present on Simone Biles for her school. And so Olivia's like, can you ask Shawn? Oh, I just spoiled our guest. But can you ask her about Simone? Because I'm going to talk about her and I'd love to hear from Shawn's perspective. I was like,
oh my gosh. Okay, Liv.
I was like, okay, Liv. First you're using the P word and also like, name drop. Like, oh yeah, my mom talked to Shawn about Simone. I know. How cute is that?
That's really cute.
I know. So. All right, should we do this?
Yeah, let's talk to Shawn Johnson.
Let's go.
Shawn, you've been at so many volleyball things lately.
I haven't. I know nothing. I need to learn everything, but I am a fan.
I saw that you're hosting the PVF All-Star.
Yes.
That is so fun.
And they haven't announced my co-host, but we're equally like completely oblivious to the rules, so it will be straight comedy.
Okay,
maybe
well, if
you
you have
should have a prep call with Shawn, and you guys can help her out.
If you have any questions, feel free to text me. I can shoot you okay, that's not the rule.
Yeah.
Please.
That's so funny.
Dummy list, right?
It is so much fun though.
Yeah.
These new PVF games are like electric. It was so much fun to go to.
Yeah, Indy's doing a really good job with their franchise.
Sorry, what is
PVF is the Pro Volleyball Federation, one of the 257 pro leagues that are in the United States right now for volleyball. But PVF is actually doing a really great job just attendance-wise, and the girls that they have, I don't know, the way that they're doing their stuff right now comparatively with Love, we're actually going to have some people that are playing with Love on our podcast as well. And like the differences between the two, somebody's going to be like a really big winner and a really big loser in all of this. And I have no idea. As a volleyball person, I have no idea who it's going to be, but
truly. Yeah.
Okay, enough about volleyball.
We'll come back to volleyball.
We'll come back to volleyball. Yeah.
We're so excited you're here with us.
Thank you.
I've looked up to you. I did not get to go to 2008 Beijing because I had an injury, and we'll talk about that later. But I would have loved to meet you in person. But I enjoyed so much watching you just perform. But I loved your joy. Like you always had this beautiful smile. And I remember admiring that you actually were enjoying it during it. And I found that so interesting playing. I felt so much pressure, and I feel like you seemed joyful and loved what you did. And I always looked up to that. So I'm super, super excited you're here with us. Our show really is talking a lot about redefining moments, but about badass women like yourself that are doing so many things. So Olympic gold medalist, entrepreneur, author. I mean, you won Dancing with the Stars in 2009. You are a mother of 3. You do so many things. You wear so many hats. So we are so happy you're here with us, and can't wait to just dig into everything you've done. So thank you for coming on Redefined.
Well, thank you. My gosh, that's quite the intro. It's an honor to be on the show. Truly. I'm a huge fan of your guys' show and both of you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, little baby questions to get started here.
Yeah.
You're a mom of 3.
Yes.
Worst moment that you've had on a plane with one of your children?
I hate to call out which child it was.
Oh yeah, of course.
they were an infant.
Yeah.
We've been traveling with our kids since they were born. So
I'm sure.
My daughter was on a plane at 4 weeks. My first son was on a plane at 6 weeks. We've traveled all the way to Israel, to Greece. Our kids are travelers.
Yeah.
Love it.
And then we had our third, and he was the colic baby, and he just was very different. And we flew a red eye this past summer to London, and it took me to a dark place. It took me to a very low moment.
It's
we
trauma.
Screamed bloody murder for the entire flight. And I remember there was one small moment where I finally got him to go to sleep. And this is a red eye. So everyone's asleep, and I'm literally just disrupting their life. I'm getting the glares, and I'm trust me, it is worse for me.
Yeah.
But I finally got him to fall asleep. And within, I swear, 2 minutes, a stewardess came over and was like, "Ma'am, he doesn't have a seatbelt on." And they have these interesting little red seatbelts that have to wrap around their body. And so she's trying to put it on him and wakes him up. And I literally I was like, "Where's the parachute? I'm jumping off this place."
Seriously.
Just get me out.
Because you're
that was the low point.
Emotionally and mentally exhausted at that point. You just want to cry, and you're like, I wish I was anywhere else doing this.
I think it might be one of the worst moments in parenting is that airplane moment.
Oh, yes.
Well, you're trapped, and then other people are looking at you, and you're like, do you think I want this?
Nothing's good about it.
And then you're like, are you people not parents? How do you not understand what we're going through?
Were you not a baby at one point?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's so
and you
frustrating.
you also feel so sad for your baby because you're like, I can't give you what you need.
I know.
And you're so miserable. And I'm just like, shh, just like stop crying. Just stop crying.
Oh, it's amazing. Pre-game meal. Is it the same as when you were an athlete and now for when you do events or different things?
I was never, no. It's always been all over the board. I was 16 in the peak of my career. So performance nutrition did not exist.
Yeah.
I was still eating, ice cream and I was a kid. Now I would say it's probably healthier. Like I'm actually having like well-balanced meals. But I do remember back in the day before every competition, I had to have one dark chocolate. Do you remember those Dove? They're like wrapped in foil and they had like a little message. I had to have one of those. It was a superstition.
Yeah, it was a superstition.
It sounds like
That's a superstition.
I would like unwrap it and read my little message and I'd like head off to the competition. But
wow.
Okay, last question. Your guilty pleasure. It can be your snack food. Are you guys watching something?
I love ice cream. I would say ice cream is like my guilty pleasure. But the one that I get it's reminiscent of like Pinkberry. So it's like tart yogurt.
Yeah.
I miss Pinkberry so much. And then we're watching Lioness right now and I'm obsessed.
I just started watching Shrinking. Have you seen Shrinking?
No.
Have you seen
No.
Shrinking? Shrinking is on Apple TV with now I can't think of an actor's name now, but yes, it's so good. I've decided instead of going to therapy, I'm just going to watch Shrinking, and it's about a therapist and like all of his friends, and he's grieving his wife, and it's like this whole, it's so good.
Okay.
Highly, highly recommend.
Okay.
It's really cute, and it's such a quick, witty storytelling. Like it's really, really good.
It's
Lycra.
Lycra
I
fabric.
love 2025 because it's just like all about Lycra.
I've been wearing Lycra for a long time.
And I have plans to wear Lycra for a long time.
The turtleneck bodysuits and trousers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think I've worn them to my last 2 speaking engagements.
It's because they're comfortable.
They're comfortable. They stretch. They're flexible. I feel good in them. And I feel like when I feel good, I look good, I perform better.
Yep.
All right. Well, note to self, start watching more shows.
More shows.
Yeah. That's my goal.
You're picking the Menendez brothers right now. I think we need to lighten it up a little bit.
I know. Every time we're done, we're like, oh my God, that was so devastating and depressing and just so, let's not even
we got to lighten it up.
Yeah, let's lighten it up.
Should we not lighten it up? Let's go redefining moment. Let's talk about, okay. So we talk a lot about like the struggles that we've been through and how that has really affected our careers and our lives as moms, and really wanted to like dive into what your most redefining moment of either your career, your athletic accomplishments, your parenting, whatever it is that has really redefined you.
Oh gosh.
And let me preface this, Shawn, before you start.
Yeah.
Is the redefining moment doesn't actually have to be a struggle. It doesn't have to be a bad thing.
That's true.
It can actually be a great thing that redefined you as a athlete, mom, person, whatever it is. So.
Yep.
Okay. The one that popped into my head is a struggle, and it does not have to be as like dark and depressing as it will come off like, because it was such a blessing too in the long run. But after my career, I had just retired. I met my husband. We got married. I kind of went through so many different things in that period of just like vanity and trying to figure out what my identity was after professional athletics. And I was just so centered and absorbed, just trying to figure out how to like fit into the culture. We were married for a year, 2 years, accidentally got pregnant for the first time and had a miscarriage at 10 or 11 weeks. And I remember that truly just kind of changed the course of my life, and my husband's life. One, I didn't know enough about like fertility and just like anything. We hadn't gone down that route.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that it was like a common thing. I didn't know that was kind of something that happened so frequently. And it just spiraled me in a very bad way to thinking that like the eating disorders I had and the yo-yo dieting I had done and like the whatever, I blamed myself so horribly. And the beautiful that came out of it was it changed every thought I had ever had in my life to, I just wanted to be a better person. The second I got pregnant, I knew I wanted to be a mom. I had like the switch had flipped and I was just like, this is what I want to be because this is the greatest feeling I've ever felt in my entire life. When I found out, I was terrified. I bawled hysterically for like 3 days because I didn't know how to digest it. But I was immediately a mom and I just wanted that feeling so bad. But I had all these like thoughts of guilt of like, did I, hurt my body like bad enough to where I'll never have kids. And it was just a long journey to get through, but I feel like it somehow in an instant, and I want to be very careful here, changed my perspective on my body and food, which was beautiful. It was not about me anymore. It was actually about a baby. Yeah. And so for the first time in my life, I felt like all the struggles I had with food and body image and stuff went away. And yeah, it just kind of put me on a trajectory and a path that was so much brighter. And I had spent so much of my life in professional athletics thinking about nothing but myself. And so being able to so wholeheartedly think about someone else and like this little person was really exciting. So it was devastating. We were really sad, but it also set us up to, I became healthier and stronger and more confident and more carefree in such a beautiful way, but found my purpose kind of as a mama and I loved it.
Okay. Incredible.
Yeah.
First off, incredible. It makes me want to sob. Tell me what the impact that had on you and raising now a daughter, how that has transformed the way that you want to parent your daughter in helping her go through, because we have 5 daughters between the both of us. And so we've talked about the eating disorder, body image struggles so many times about how do we raise these girls with the mindset of body, or that food is fuel, and like that this is good for, you have to eat to help yourself, not for the image. And we've had these conversations so many times. Tell us about how that has transformed the way that you want to raise your daughter as well.
Oh my gosh. Well, 5 girls scares the crap out of me.
Scares us too. Don't worry.
I was surprised with our first baby. We didn't find out till we had her. Aww. And when they announced that we had a girl, I was like, oh gosh, like, how do I do this? Yeah. But I mean, so many thoughts here because I feel like I obsess over raising a girl day in and day out because of everything that I've gone through. I will start by saying, I feel like our girls, there are so many things that they are going to be faced with that we never had to deal with social media and just like so many things. But I do think something in their favor is we are truly in a generation of education for probably the first time in a very, very long time or ever. I feel like our generation as girls, we are always raised with like, don't eat that. I can't explain why, but just don't eat that, or it's going to make you look a bad way, or you're going to gain weight, which is such a bad thing. We also grew up in a culture where women didn't work out to be strong. They worked out to lose weight. And I think our girls are very lucky to now grow up in a generation of the PVL, where they actually see really cool, strong women who are working out because they love it and they get to play and they get to enjoy what their bodies can do. So I think already they're light years ahead of us and what we all had to go through with just marketing and social media and society. In regards to raising my daughter, though, it's just been education. I've tried very, very hard, which is very hard to be a role model in the sense of like, I don't look at myself in a bad way in the mirror. I don't say anything bad about myself in front of her, even if I try not to ever. But there's no bad comments on bodies or other bodies. Or we also talk about everybody's different and they should be different. And we all look different and we're all different sizes for a purpose and a reason. And then I just teach her about food in the sense of my daughter could sit here and actually tell you that like broccoli will help make her muscles stronger so she can ice skate faster. Sugar tastes yummy and she can have it for sure. Yeah. But if she has too much of it, her belly's going to hurt. Right. And she's actually learned that the hard way. So I think just kind of teaching the purpose of it rather than the vanity of it is how we're going about it. Yeah. But I don't know. I could be screwing it up too.
Neither do like that's we talk about all this stuff of like our thoughts on this whole parenting thing. And it's like we literally have no idea. We have no clue. Our kids could go off and do something, which is the opposite. Most likely they will go off and do something that's the opposite of what we're saying. Yeah. And it's like we're just trying our best to figure this out.
And I think we are the best example, like you said, Shawn, like my girls, our girls, they see me wake up. They know I work out every day. They see how I eat and how our family eats. We're providing healthy options for them. They can pick whatever they want from what I cook. But the lifestyle and the experience that we're giving them, I'm hoping that that's just part of who they are and the lifestyle they're going to catch on with. And playing sports and consuming food as fuel and the confidence that we're teaching them, right? And praising them and playing sports and all of the amazing things that will come along with playing sports is going to empower them, give them confidence and help them make, you know, lifestyle decisions that are going to help them. You know, I think we're the living proof and we're the best role models for our kids that we can have.
For sure.
Your parents put you into gymnastics when you were 3 because you were just jumping off stuff and they saw it early on like, hey, let's put her in gymnastics. At that moment, at 3-4 years old, they saw it. You loved it. They saw this potential passion future for gymnastics. But what I was so fascinated about learning was they did such a good job balancing the amount of hours that you actually were doing gymnastics until you were in high school? Talk a little bit about your childhood memories starting from 3 years old and how your parents at that time thought that, you know, having a balance was going to be the best thing for you.
How do I say this in a way that doesn't take the next hour? My parents are absolutely incredible. So I was a very, very hyper child, as we all have learned with toddlers. And my parents truly did not know what to do with me. I had cracked my head open multiple times by the age of 2 because I thought I could fly.
That's Gabby. That's her second.
I just did dumb stuff. So they put me in ballet. I got kicked out of ballet because I wouldn't listen and I kept doing cartwheels. So they said, okay, let's try something else. They put me in gymnastics just because it was an option. And they saw that I fell in love with the trampoline because it reinforced the belief that I could fly. And I just kept asking to go back. So my parents, I think the thing that was so beautiful about my upbringing and how they balanced everything so well was they had this mentality. They both had very hard childhoods themselves, very not normal childhoods. And their dream and mission as parents raising me was to give me a normal childhood. And that meant going against anything extreme. And so when it came to balancing, every time my coach would say, I want to move her up to the next level, I think we should travel her to some competition this weekend, my parents just said no. They said, that's not normal. That doesn't give her the normal childhood steadiness and consistency that we dream of. So she's just not doing it. And they were just so anti, for lack of a better word, success. And not in a bad way, like truly in just trying to preserve a childhood way. that it kept me very grounded and normal within the upbringing, paired with my coach was a world champion gymnast from China. He was taken from his family and put into the system at the age of 3 and had a very extreme childhood, was training, excessive hours every week, doing all these things. He moved to the United States with a dream of raising Olympians who were also children, and children in the sense of he required that we go to full days of public school. We could never skip school. We had to show our grades. We had to go to homecoming dances. He would take us to Dairy Queen after practice. He wanted us to truly be kids. And so it was just kind of, I got very, very lucky, but they went against culture in the sense of breeding and training an Olympian. And they just wanted me to be a kid. And that's why, as you said at the beginning, I was smiling so much. I just had fun. My coach wanted me to play. I wasn't training. I was truly still playing. And it made it so much fun.
I love that. That is so refreshing. And it's a reminder to like why our kids are playing sports. But it feels so hard and very far in between. Like, do you believe that culture environment is still out there, Shawn? Like, besides your coach, is he still coaching, by the way? Like, is he? Yeah.
He is.
Like, how many other environments are out there like that? Because
Not
that is
many.
special. That's incredible. That's why kids should be involved in sports.
There needs to be more adults that breed that.
Exactly.
Yes. I think, unfortunately, children's athletics are very toxic in the sense of, we all know it with our kids. If you aren't signing them up for a travel soccer league by the age of 4, they've already lost their college scholarship. The amount of parents who call me and they're like, my gymnastics coach is asking that my daughter, who's 5, go 40 hours a week because that's what Allie Raceman did. I'm like, they're stealing your money.
They're stealing your money.
I think we have truly lost the idea that athletics and children is for fun. It should be for fun. And once a kid falls in love with a sport, they will work hard to do whatever they can to get to the next level.
Yes.
That's what we train. And this whole mentality of I can just coach them to the Olympics is false. The Olympics are lucky. You have to be good, but it's a lot of luck too.
Beam Kids has been something that you've been really, really passionate about. I've been seeing it all over your social media lately. So tell us about your involvement with that.
I co-created with my husband's best friend, who's the founder of Beam, it's a multivitamin, a greens powder, a probiotic, and a prebiotic all in one. I selfishly got really tired of buying 7 different supplements and giving them to my kids, and they didn't like them, or they just wanted to only eat the gummies and they would eat all of them and I'd be afraid I'd have to take them to the hospital. So we created, it's a powder and it's chocolate flavored. If you mix it with milk, it tastes like Nesquik chocolate milk. It's really good. But I also selfishly did it because my kids love chocolate milk. My kids love apple juice. And I'm just like, it's completely empty of anything beneficial for you.
Yeah.
But I can cheat it now and give them their chocolate milk and know that it's actually good. Yeah. So I created it very selfishly. The founder of Beam, like I said, is our best friend. He made it for our kids. Truly, just like he was doing this on the side and making it for our kids. And one day he was like, actually, how would you feel if we sold this? And I was like, as long as we can still keep making it for my kids.
Yeah.
Great.
And I'm in.
Absolutely. All the other kids can have it too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Shawn, let's go back to you win gold. You have an incredible Olympics. 2009, you go on Dancing with the Stars, you win that. You're on this media tour. That's what you do, right? You take advantage of these gold medals, Olympics, as you should. And then in 2010, you tear up your entire knee. Unfortunately, all three of us are part of the ACL club.
We all have done the ACL thing.
And all of our ACLs come at very defining moments in our careers. For you, you don't go on and finish playing college volleyball. For me, I missed the 2008 Beijing Olympics. And for you, Shawn, it now takes you a long time to get back out on the slopes, trying to go to 2012. Can you talk about that experience and then a little bit about the transition when you did have to retire, how that went? Because being a gymnast your whole entire life, literally since you were 3, and that identity shift, talk about how difficult or easy of transition that was for you.
So my coach, which I kind of spoke about already, just had a different philosophy in coaching. He was very open to me doing anything when I trained. He's like, go play soccer, go do other sports. I don't care. The only rule we have at our gym is you cannot ski. So you could literally go do anything. You just can't ski. So I listened. And as soon as I retired the first time after the 2008 Olympics, I said, you know what I'm going to go do? I'm going to go to ski. And I fell in love with it. Skied for 2 years. It was a very cliche story, dumb story, but last day, last run, easiest run.
Of course.
Took a bad fall, tore everything. And I remember sitting on the side of the hill, yard sailed, and with my skis everywhere. And I knew something was bad. I knew I had done something to my leg. The very first thought I had was, what if I can never do gymnastics again? And up until that moment, I thought I was done with gymnastics. I hadn't stepped foot back into a gym in almost 2 years since I retired from Beijing. But I thought that was interesting, that was my first thought. And it kind of sparked this, like, maybe I'm not done. So I walked back into my gym a week later and I said, Coach, I want to come back. And he was so ecstatic. And he's like, great. I said, however, I can't start for another 6 months. And I told him, and he was just like, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? And very long story short, I loved it for a while. I loved being back. I rehabbed my body. I rehabbed my knee. I got all the way back into elite competition shape. I made it back to Pan American Games. I made it back to Olympic trials. And I just got up to Olympic trials and I just didn't have the heart for it anymore. And I remember thinking to myself, I was almost dreading the idea of being named. And that sounds awful, but like being named to the 2012 Olympic team. But I knew in that moment that I had that thought that back in 2008, when I got named to the Olympic team, it was my lifelong dream coming true. And I was so ecstatic. And I remember thinking, if I'm dreading being named to this team, I'm taking a spot away from a girl whose lifelong dream is about to come true. And not to say that I would have even made the team, but my heart was just out of it. And so I ended up retiring, and it was like a week before Olympic trials, and I just felt free. And I think I needed that comeback to a certain extent to reassure myself that, yeah, I am finished here, and it's time to fully transition out of professional athletics and go be a real adult in life, which is daunting.
Sounds like a very redefining moment, Shawn. Another one, right?
It was. And then the cherry on top there was I ended up going to London, not to compete, but to work and commentate for Yahoo Sports. Yahoo Sports sent me on this very weird and different event coverage day where I went to cover cycling, like Lance Armstrong cycling. I met a USA athlete who's a track cyclist. His name is Guy East. He was assigned to teach me about cycling while I watched it and covered it for Yahoo Sports. And he's now my brother-in-law. He set me up on a blind date with his brother.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. I thought your husband like slid you a DM, or was that because you met his brother?
Because of that. So we're sitting, he's teaching me about cycling. And he's like, after we're like leaving, he's like, if you take anything away from our conversation, he's like, you should meet my younger brother.
That's
I was
so
like,
good.
whatever.
That's so good.
So,
I love that.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so wild to hear. The part that stood out the most to me is like, you win, you retired, you go on this tour, and then you get hurt. And not only do you get hurt, but you tear up your entire knee, you tear your hamstring, you blow out your entire leg.
Yeah.
And at that moment on the hill, you realize, wait, I want to make a comeback?
Yeah.
That is
That's
so
a wild.
interesting to me.
It doesn't make any sense. I would be curious to dig into really all of it. I was struggling, as you guys probably know. Transitioning out of professional athletics is very hard.
So
and
hard.
I was 2 years into it and I was so lost. I had not found anything that was fun. My body I was not in shape of any kind, and I felt very lost there. I was trying to figure out the college situation. I was only 18 years old and I was just lost. And I think sitting on the mountain with a blown out leg was kind of a rock bottom. And in my mind, I was like, I have to go back to gymnastics. That's the last place I remember feeling confident.
Complete. Yeah.
I need to regain that before I start this process again.
Moving forward.
Yeah. We both are married to, so Arielle's husband, Matt, they played volleyball together.
Player.
They own their club together. My husband and I, both former professional soccer players. You two are athletes. Like, there's just something about these athlete couples, and don't know you at all, but based off of like what we see, listening to the pod, like you guys just seem so fun. We want to hang out with you all, just the way you parent and have fun and laugh through all this like chaos. You just seem like such a good team and so much teamwork. Yeah.
Thank you. We would love to hang out anytime. We're always looking for friends.
All right.
Perfect.
Come to Nashville.
Yep.
Yes. But thank you. I am in love with my husband. He's like a puppy that just like never grows up. But we have a lot of fun. We are a wonderful team. We work wonderfully together. We work together literally every single second of every day.
Mm-hmm.
Which comes with its own frustration. So
yes, it does.
We're not
I feel your pain.
Yeah. But I do think there is something to be said, though, of like athletes marrying athletes. We both like respect and understand each other's mindsets when it comes to like needing an outlet for stress and needing to be driven and needing to work hard. So yeah, we have a lot of fun.
What's your parenting style versus his? Like, what do you guys differ most on?
He doesn't agree with this, but it is accurate. I am the disciplinarian and he is another kid.
Yeah.
So
I can relate to that.
Yeah, so can I.
All right, let's do our weekly flex, Shawn. Every week we highlight some small things, or they can be big things depending on the week, that we've accomplished and done. So, Shawn, do you want to start us off with your weekly flex?
You start and then I'll go. I got to think of it.
Okay. So far this week, I took a very quick day trip to LA. I took off at 2:00 and I was back in my bed by 11 p.m.
That's a quick trip to LA.
A very quick trip, you know?
That's amazing.
Yeah. For the parents, they were like, well, you can spend the night. I was like, actually, I prefer to be in my own bed.
Yep.
So I left as late as I could, went down to LA. I went on the Recap Re-Ink show, which is two of my former teammates from the U.S. team, Tobin Heath and Kristen Press. They have their own show. And I got to sit down with them, and it was just, it brings me back to why I love team sports so much and why I'm surrounded by teammates in everything that I do. All we did was just talk about our old memories, being in the locker room, competing, all of the things that we loved about each other and we missed. And just, it was just so fun to be around other women and teammates in my life that are so invested into women's sports. Kristen plays for Angel City and Tobin, is not playing anymore, but it was just so re-energizing being around them and just such an honor to be on their show. And I quickly headed back to the airport and back in bed, and I was with my girls at breakfast on Tuesday morning. So that was my flex. Just
such a whirlwind,
beast mode little trip. And I love it.
So good.
Yeah. Arielle?
Weekly flex for me. I am headed to DC, where I'm from, to help my mom run a citywide event in the city of DC that my parents started 20 years ago. It's the biggest citywide event in DC every year. It's called the Capitol Hill Classic on President's Day weekend, and we will have about 40,000 people per day through the DC Convention Center, over 100,000 people on the weekend.
It's massive.
It's a girls volleyball tournament, ages 8 to 18 that will be there. We have 122 courts that are set up in the DC Convention Center.
Oh my gosh.
And it is quite the event. We pretty much have every single hotel in the city that will be full of girls volleyball players. And my dad went and knocked on the door of the convention center 20 years ago and said, hey, we want to start a volleyball event here. It's a $100 million economic impact to the city. And it's something that me and my brother kind of had to take the reins over since my dad passed. And my mom is just an absolute superstar running the event. And I'll be all over social media all weekend, hanging out with the girls volleyball players.
And riding
my little
tractor
truck
thing.
Yelling at people what to do, even though I don't do anything. And I just mess around the whole time. But yeah, that's my flex so that's where I'll be next weekend. Yeah.
Shawn,
that's incredible. I am really glad I didn't go first. I was about to say, I made sourdough for the first time.
Hey, that is a flex.
That's a huge flex.
Keep it alive. Yes.
That's a huge flex.
Yes.
But I'll change it. I forgot, but I'm excited. We launched Beam Kids this week. So.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. There you go.
Just launching a company.
No big deal. Your new company. Add it to the list.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see how it goes. It's been 6 years in the making.
Oh,
so
that's amazing.
Excited to see it finally take off.
So Beam Kids and sourdough.
Yeah.
Beam Kids and sourdough. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a strong flex week.
That is a strong flex week. So good.
Well, thank you.
Shawn, thank you so much for spending your hour with us again. We loved talking to you and following you and watching you throughout this amazing journey of yours. So know that you have 2 fans over here.
Absolutely.
And know that Beam Kids is going to get delivered to our household. And we can't wait to support you in your next endeavors too. So,
and you let me know if you have any volleyball questions for that PVF hosting.
I have all of them.
Okay, good.
All of the questions.
They need a prep call.
I'm just going to send you over just a couple notes. Yeah. Make sure you hit these marks. You'll be totally fine.
Yes.
Okay, great.
So good.
I remember, even watching Shawn back in 2008, women weren't wearing a lot of makeup playing in the Olympics. And I remember in 2012, this big shift happening and athletes were wearing makeup. Yep. And it was this huge inflection point where women can be as badass on the field or in their sport and still be beautiful and
be feminine and athletic.
Yes. And now Sephora is literally sponsoring the Unrivaled League. They're the walkout tunnel. They're doing pre-game, post-game, like glam.
It's amazing.
It's so fun and to teach our girls.
I'm glad our girls are growing up in that world and not the world that we grew up with in women's sports.
I know. I had to sneak the makeup. I remember on the U.S. national team, I used to wear the Chanel lip gloss. I still do now. But I remember being in the cubby and sneaking it on. And Abby Wambach would always give me a hard time when she would see me doing it. But I remember it being... It wasn't a thing. It wasn't really encouraged. It was you're wearing makeup.
There are still clubs in volleyball that don't let their girls wear makeup while they play. There are coaches that will not let their girls wear makeup.
Are they male coaches?
For sure. You kidding me?
That's why it's we're living in such a different time, and it's just so cool that our girls this is the norm.
Yep.
When we share these stories with them, they're gonna be like, "What?"
Yep.
And I remember doing post-game interviews and being sweaty and nasty and just wanting to feel somewhat good.
Yeah.
And now I'm watching these athletes. I'm like, they are feeling great.
Yeah, you can do both.
You can do both.
Angel Reese was on the cover of Vogue, people.
Badass on the court and off the court.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening to our show.
Yeah, another amazing episode of Redefined. So make sure you follow us, like us on wherever you listen to your iPod. Oh my
Your
gosh.
iPod.
It's because we gave Olivia an iPod for Christmas.
Yes, iPods are back.
Hey.
If you're listening to this podcast on an iPod,
Hey,
update your phone.
They're very difficult to find.
They're difficult to. I looked into getting one for Riley, and
I have it, and I got it for Christmas, and still
you got to
sitting in
update it and
Ricky's
plug
office.
it into your computer.
Yeah, I'm like, how do we do this, folks?
Yeah,
it's very challenging.
Yeah.
Anyways, wherever you listen to your pods and shows, follow us, like us,
comment all the things. Talk to us. Give us some feedback.
Yeah,
good
we
feedback.
love feedback.
Good, nice feedback.
We can handle if it's tough feedback too.
Honestly, I can't. I don't want any tough feedback.
No, that's not being coachable, Arielle.
I know. I'm not coachable. I'm 30.
You cannot be a coach and at the level you are and not be coachable.
I'm so coachable. If you give it to me nicely while I'm wrapped in a Lola blanket and have my coffee next to me.